Hey guys, I just wanted to come to you guys real quick and let you know about things I learned from doing this 7-day reset from Mel Robbins based off of a video that I recently watched of hers. It actually put a lot of things in perspective, and while there's 7 things on here and it's a 7-day reset, I really was able to get it done in just a couple of days. And I learned 4 things because some of them tied together. A lot of these things I had heard before, but the way she explained them brought some different thoughts and brought a different perspective. So I wanted to take a few minutes to share what I learned real fast with you before I go inside. So let's just get to it, shall we? The 7-day reset by Mel Robbins. The things on this list, she says, are just like simple, and they are. They're very simple things that she's put into place, and they were very easy to do. So number 1 was do a brain dump. What I learned from this, that a brain dump is not a to-do list. So what I usually do is I write everything down. I'm good at brain dumps. I brain dump all the time. But then I get overwhelmed because I look at this list and suddenly start wanting to say, okay, which items am I going to do first? Or I get really overwhelmed at how I start feeling like a failure because some of these things on this list have been here for a very long time. And the question is, why haven't I done them? So I start being very hard on myself, very self-deprecating, and it makes me just not want to do anything. You know, you have that like procrastination where when you're overwhelmed, you don't know where to start. And so you just don't start. And that's usually what happens to me with a brain dump. However, with how she laid it out is something that I absolutely love. So her steps 2 is free yourself, basically cross off all the things that you're not going to do this week. Just, you wrote it down, great, it's out of your head, now just cross it off. And then number 3 on her list is set one priority. So instead of me going down the list and just marking everything that I would normally do and trying to figure out what order I'm going to do all of them and get them all done as fast as I can so then I don't feel overwhelmed. The goal with this is to not do that. Just do one. And so if I do this once a week or a couple of days a week and I just set a priority for that day, that's actually very freeing because at the end of the day, I can feel like I actually got something done and something accomplished instead of feeling like this list is never ending and I'm not going to get done. So actually that's the first 3 things on her list is do a brain dump for yourself by crossing things off you know you're not going to get done. And then number 3, set a priority. So the first thing that I learned is based off of all those top 3. Now number 4 on her list, got my notes, sorry. Number 4 on her list is plan one meal. That's weird for me because I usually plan a full week at a time. Sometimes I plan a whole month at a time. But something I learned from this, so her idea with the soup gave me like this light bulb moment where I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think about this? So I have not been making soups. My favorite soups, so I love soup, which is crazy because I was like, why are you talking about soup? But what it triggered in me was the fact that her making this one soup to take on her trip down to Boston or New York or wherever it was for the week, and she had soup for the week. I was like, why don't I implement something very similar to that? I don't make soup at home because, well, Mike says he's not a soup guy. And so the few times that I've made a soup, there's always been this, I don't like soup, blah, blah, blah. You know, like grumbly feeling about, I don't like soup, I'm not going to get full on soup, or some other reason why soup is a no-go for him. And I'm okay with that. So just, I haven't been making soups. Well, the light bulb moment for me was like, there's nothing saying I can't make a crock pot full of soup and separate it out so I can have soup every day for the week, or even put some of it in freezable portions so that I can have those soups. Because what I do is I buy like canned soup, and that's kind of ridiculous because I can make my own soup at home for much cheaper, and I can make the ones that I really like. So that's the second thing I really learned about this. From number 4 with the meal prep is my planning 1 meal a week is going to be my lunches from now on. My lunches. I plan everything else. I plan dinners. I plan everything else. But now I'm going to plan my lunches. And I'm going to stick to that because it'll give me a healthier option besides halfway through my work day, because I work from home, get up and just kind of walk around the house finding something to munch on. Or I wait until 4 o'clock in the afternoon when it's time for me to start making dinner, and then I am starving and I want to eat everything while I'm cooking. It's not really going to work. The next things on her list, number 5 is schedule a workout. And I'm going to skip number 6, but go to number 7, which is connect with someone. I wanted to put those connect, reconnect, and exercise on the same thing. Going through that, I realized, Susan and I have talked about doing a Disney marathon. We're never going to do a marathon. Well, I'm not going to say never, but we've been talking about doing at least a 5K or something like that. But we've never had the chance to really work toward it. Not seriously anyway. But the plan is from here on out, I have started to try to work out at least 6 days a week. And then twice a day. I know that sounds crazy, but what happens is it's one actual workout plus one walk. So why don't I take those walks or workouts and have a few days a week that I meet up with Susan? We can go to the Greenway or to the Y and walk on their outdoor track or run, and we can actually work toward that goal of doing one of the Disney fun runs. As we've been saying for the past 10 years, we just haven't got to it. Well, this is that year. We're going to start working on this probably this week because I already spoke to her about it and she is on board. So it's game on. We're doing this. And that leads me to the 4th thing that I learned from this list of 7 things on this 7-day reset. So number 6 on this list of 7 is to plan time for rest. This really has been the hardest thing for me. Why? Because my schedule is so packed. Everything from, making sure that Ethan has everything he needs for health, for school, for me and my job, for the animals here on the farm, for Mike, making sure he has what he needs for work, clothes, his morning coffee, the making sure that we have dinners, meals planned, I've got I do physical therapy 2 to 3 days a week. I'm fixing it a break, thank goodness. So rest is definitely coming, but with all those things, rest has been super hard for me. But what I'm going to be doing now is, like I said about the exercise, my weekends, because my weeks are so packed, Sunday is my rest day. If for some reason that I've got too much going on, I have to move a fence for the goats, or this is the only day of sun we have and we've got to get stuff done, or we have something going on outside of our control, then Sunday's my rest day. I'm done. I am going to take a rest. And not only I'm going to do 1 day of rest, I'm actually focusing on my evenings. Because for me, I do everything for everybody all day long. And then 8:30 p.m. hits. And instead of winding down and going to bed, that's when I start working on more things. I go clock in another hour and a half or so at work, or I prep stuff for the next day, and I've got to start that prep around 8 o'clock. I've just got to do that because I've got to make a point to be in bed between 8:30 and 9. I just have to do it. That way I can get the appropriate amount of rest nightly. I can get sleep. I can wake up feeling refreshed. I can wake up earlier and not hit that snooze button so much because I feel like crap. So yeah, that's my take on rest. It's not just one day. It's how I've got to manage it. It's how I got to manage it throughout the week and integrate that rest into my daily life. Well, that is going to do it for the 4 things that I learned from this 7-day reset by Mel Robbins. I'm going to put the link in the comments to her video. That way you guys can go watch it yourself. And then also she has a link that you can go print out your own copy of her 7-day reset worksheet. I found it very helpful, especially when I used it along with the video. And I think that you will too. So if you guys have enjoyed the content today, you like the topic that I've covered, please like and subscribe, because I plan to continue to cover similar things as I learn and grow. I'm on a journey with my health and my wellness. That's not just physical, but it's also mental and spiritual as well. And we'd love to have you guys join me on this journey. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next one.